everybody. Um, yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of fun tonight. So first, though, what I want to do is go over just a couple of things before Ben and Brandy get in here. So tonight's guest is going to be Ben and Brandy of Off Road Recon. If you don't know about their channel, you're going to know a lot about it tonight. Um, but I want to give you guys a quick update. This YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, the Adventure S YouTube channel, has been fully monetized for about since the 15th and of January. So we've earned about a dollar a day, which is really cool. So it's fully monetized now. So there's super chats, there's super thanks on the videos, and then there's ad revenue. So far we're getting about a dollar a day, which is great. And if you don't know what's happening, we're gonna have all of the donations, or sorry, all of the revenue that this channel earns is going to be donated to a nonprofit off-road organization, and that is going to happen on September 11th. And I really like to a minimum donation of $1,000. So whatever we don't raise through the YouTube stuff, I'm gonna come up with that and give it to them as a donation. And the reason for that is that it costs a lot of money to take these veterans off road and prepare meals and do everything and take care of them, making sure that they are reacclimated and everything easily. So yeah, that's the whole idea. And so if you feel like donating, just know that to the channel, just know that every bit of it's not going to me. It's going to Mind Over Land. Check them out at mindoverland.org. And I'm going to have them here on this live thing at some point in the future. So having said all of that, that was the main thing. Um, so right now the channel's at 1886 subscribers, which is really cool. Hoping to get to 2500 by the end of this year. That is the personal goal for me. We already talked about all that kind of fun stuff, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Now, as far as these live series goes, it is not the normal content that's on this channel. You're going to find all kinds of stuff. You're going to find, adventure videos. You're going to find how-tos, wrenching videos, all that kind of stuff. And I know that you guys like those things, but the whole reason why I'm doing these live things is to introduce you to other people that are in the off-road niche that you may not know about. Or you want to actually interact with them, ask questions, and things like that. And tonight's guest is absolutely not like they are 100% that. They have wheeled all kinds of vehicles over the last, I think their channel's been around for 4 or 5 years. They started out in a JK, like a Jeep JK, then they went to an F-150, then they went to an old Bronco for a while, then back to a JL, and then or to a JL, and then I think they just got a Bronco. So stick around, ask questions, hop up in the chat and all that kind of good stuff. And if Ben and Brandon, if you guys want to click that link right now, I can go ahead and put you guys in, which would be really cool. And yeah, so we'll see if we have that link coming up soon. Technology is not fun, by the way. And just so you guys know, I do my best to take a look at the chat. So thanks to Reptihan. Nice new channel, by the way, from the Han family. That's really cool. Hey, Scott, nice to see you. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about the channel or my channel, about what's going on with the donation and stuff like that too, or how to get involved with that, just let us know. It'll be really cool to do that. I don't know if we're having any kind of techie issues right now on their end, but we'll find out. So yeah, some other updates. I joined from the wrong channel tonight. Yeah, well, you got too many of them. Hey Todd, how you doing, man? No, man, you're live. You're live. It's all good. I know time zones are weird. That's kind of crazy. Adventure Explore Discover. Hey, from Charlotte. And here's Ben and Brandy, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get them on here, and we're gonna keep going. Let's see. Boop. Add. All right. Hey, you guys are all sideways.
We're in the wrong orientation.
No, well, we can. You're gonna adjust. Okay, you adjust.
Well, I don't know if we can both fit in vertical. No,
Well,
we
you
can't.
guys are married and get close to each other.
Not
You
that
know,
close.
not that close. Yeah. Well, you guys have had quite the adventure as of late, but I'll definitely let you guys tell that story. But I want to introduce you guys to everybody's here. We've got Reptahom, we've got Venture Explorer Discover from the Charlotte area. Todd is. Are you still out in Arizona, dude? I think he's out from Arizona. So people from all over the country. We got I know one guy's wrapping a gladiator, and then we got a JK and Todd. I think did you get a CJ or an LJ? Can't remember. Anyway, so lots of vehicles, and I know you guys are very fluent in your vehicles as of late as well. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Sometimes
first,
not by choice.
well, hey, you know what? You overcome. You
Yeah,
overcome all of
that's
these
right.
obstacles, and that is totally cool. But yeah, just take a minute, introduce yourselves to the people.
Yeah, man. I mean, for people that aren't familiar with us, we just, I mean, your name says what we do probably best, just adventure. And we don't really care what vehicle we use to get there or, what trail we have to take, but we do a little bit of everything: off-roading, overlanding. As of late, we've been doing mostly like traveling in our motorhome. So
Yeah,
we pull our Bronco behind that, and it's nice to go out and wheel hard all day, and then come back and relax in a nice, comfortable bed and not a rooftop tent. So we try to throw that in the mix, but we have our overland trailer coming. We're going to be doing more of that probably real soon. So whatever it takes to get out and hit some trails.
well, I
Usually.
mean, I appreciate you guys, coming on and doing this, and the whole purpose behind this is just to get in front of people, ask them some questions about, kind of their particular take on the outdoor lifestyle. It doesn't matter what that is, doesn't matter what vehicle they drive. Um, I'm a big Jeep guy, but I've driven other vehicles too. There's just a
You're the
particular,
first person I've heard say that.
yeah, I'm sure, yeah. But I mean, we've had like all walks of life on this live series so far. But I know you guys started your channel. It was like almost 5 years ago, right? Was your first upload?
Yeah, it would have been April of 2019, right? So whatever that was.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was 2019.
Yeah.
yeah. So really close to 5 years now. And then
Yeah.
that was I think it was the Piney video, and that kind of
Mhm.
like blew
Oh yeah,
up for
yeah.
you guys almost eventually, like almost immediately. And you guys
Yeah.
started going and growing and growing on your channel and everything
Yeah.
else. And
Mhm.
you've done a little bit of everything on your channel too, right? So you've done
Yeah, and
all kinds of stuff.
I kind of like this opportunity to explain that a little bit because I feel like um a lot of people think, oh, well, you're not doing Jeeping or you're not doing this. But anybody that knows like a content creator grind, um, like everybody, you see the adventure videos, you go out and you do the adventuring yourself, but I guess you don't realize that somebody that's putting out an adventure or an off-roading video every weekend is having to
Hmm.
do that every week.
Hmm.
So when you're in this grind, it kind of takes the fun out of off-roading or overlanding or really all that in general. So, as of late, like the last couple of years, we really had a big rebranding when we went from off-road recon to Ben and Brandy, and that rebranding was really the purpose of it was so we could do other things and not just off-road. And it actually brought a lot of that joy of off-roading back. That trip that we just took to Utah, that was some of the most fun we've had wheeling in a long time,
Hmm.
except for what was that trail we got on up there and had a blowout in the tire?
Oh, top of the world.
Top of the
Oh,
world.
Not
yeah,
If
fun.
you
yeah.
haven't done that trail, don't do it. And if you want proof, go watch the video that we made of that.
People say they like it. I don't trust them. No,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
it's
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 I mean, the thing about that particular trail, and the reason why I didn't do it, like I know that you guys had, which we'll get into in a little bit, the 20 badges in 30 days kind of adventure. I had an adventure out there myself. Like I did a V8 swap in my vehicle, and I flew out to Vegas with one of my best friends, and we picked up my Jeep in Las Vegas, and immediately we drove to Moab. Untested, nothing, like absolutely whatever. They did their own testing on the swap or whatever,
yeah.
but we did. I don't know how many trails out there, but the reason why we didn't do Top of the World is because it's kind of out of this world. It's kind of way away from everything
Yeah.
else, and it's an all day crazy long thing where it's up and back. Yes, you get
Yeah.
some great views and you get a great photo, but so does like 5 million other people.
Yeah, and that's the thing to me is like how great is that photo when literally everybody that drives an off-road vehicle has that photo.
Yeah,
And
Good
I
point.
mean, honestly, if you want the photo, you can do a nice little screen cut nowadays and put your Jeep on that and get it
yeah,
real close to the edge.
yeah.
But
Give it.
but
I
yeah, I
mean,
mean, we did it because the views are there for it. But you can tell that it wasn't a good day. And then coming down after we already didn't like the trail anyway, we had a blowout on one of our 37-inch tires that was only like a month old. So
yeah.
yeah, it was miserable.
Adventure finds you if you don't find it, right? So
Yeah,
a lot of
that's
times
right.
it doesn't matter if you're, at home working on your generator for the box truck or whatever else. Adventure finds you no matter
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah,
So let's kind of go back to that for a second. You guys started out with the JK and it had a soft top. You got a family of four to go out and do these adventures with. You started, had the idea of creating some content, throwing it out there for people to see.
yeah.
And I'm going to just assume for a second that you didn't know what you guys were going to do with it. You just wanted to do it.
Yeah, so we actually started out on ATVs way back in, I don't know, 2004 or something.
Right, right.
And then we kind of like I just as the family grew, our vehicles grew,
Hmm.
and Brandy and I bought our first side by side. Gosh, I don't know, it must have been like 12 or 13, somewhere in there. And anyway, so we kind of kept evolving. And then next thing you know, we've got this side by side, which if you're not familiar, we had a Polaris North Star Edition Ranger.
Hmm.
It's like a $30,000 side by side. It's got heat and air and all that, but it was just a bench seat. So we only had,
Yeah.
we were all
Two
crammed in
seats.
this little cab. And then I started thinking, like, for 30 grand, we could be driving something that's roadworthy and off-road worthy.
Hmm.
And I'll be honest, right off the top, I never was a Jeep guy. I did not want to buy a Jeep. I looked at uh, what was that? FJ. I looked at FJs a lot, the Toyota FJs.
Right, right.
And anyway, Jeep just had proven to me. I mean, that's what they're built for, is off-roading. Since this was going to primarily be an off-roading vehicle, we pulled the trigger on a Jeep. So I ended up buying a Jeep with the money from selling our side by sides, and I was working a lot back then. And so it was really just kind of like a weekend hobby. We would go
Hmm.
out and do our trips, and then we'd make a video about it. And yeah, I started like, you start falling in love with this adventure, and then you got the memories by a camera. And so one thing turned into another, and then our channel really started kind of getting some traction and taking off. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe let's try to do this thing. So I think it was probably 2.5 years before, maybe 3 years before I really kind of threw in the towel at work and decided to go full time doing
Yeah.
this.
And so
Um,
that, I mean, that's obviously quite the jump, right? Because, um, I mean, I've had my channel for like 6 years and it just got monetized, but I'm boring.
yeah,
I know that I'm boring. I'm not trying like I know who I am, and that's fine. But I also have a wife and a dog that I love spending time with. And I have a
yeah,
full time job that I absolutely love, and people that depend on me to do that instead of taking a Tuesday off to go wheel somewhere. Like, so doing that, I just realized I don't really care about the monetization stuff. I don't really care about pushing it and what people think so much. I'm not trying to be the next Trail Recon or the next whatever big thing. It would be cool, but it would also have some really negative things that would be associated with that,
what do you
right?
think of Trail Recon? You brought him up. What do you think of that panel?
I think initially he had some really good ideas. So when I was a beginner, as far as Jeeping was concerned, he was pushing products and having sponsors and stuff like that. But that's
Yeah.
not. That's kind of the trap that a lot of people fall into. I think that the stock vehicle, whatever it is incredibly capable. Um,
Uh-huh.
and most people that get into this sport or think they're going to get into this sport and I am going to call it that, because you break things, you pay for it, you have to buy
Mhm.
permits. Like it's a sport. Um, they fall into the trap of I need a lift, I need some big tires, I need these lights, I need this bumper, I need all these kind of things, except for the essentials initially, and then learning what they love. So
Yeah.
if you go out and run some Forest Service roads and stuff like that, there's no reason why you need a Dana 60 and an 80 in the,
Mhm.
60 in the front, 80 in the rear, double locked and all this other kind of crazy stuff. No, you need an axe, a saw, a chainsaw, know how to start a fire, know how to cook some food,
Yeah.
right? And a winch
Yeah.
or a buddy with a tow rope.
I mean, I think that initially it kind of starts off in as you grow bigger and your channel grows bigger, you're throwing so many free things that it's like you start losing the grip of reality and what people really spend money on. But at the
Right, right.
same point, I'll say from like Brad or Trail Recon or any of these other big time YouTubers perspective, people watch this stuff. So it's
Sure.
like if you put out gear reviews and you put all this materialistic crap in front of you and you turn your
Hmm.
camera on, people will eat it up. And
Yeah.
and so it's like the snowball effect. But literally, we've got a video coming out next week, and I'm doing reviews of channels, and Brad's actually one of the ones on the channel. But
Hmm.
I mean, just right off the top, being honest, we started doing this because of his channel.
And we really
Yeah.
loved his channel back then too.
Yeah,
I feel like we watched it all the time. But then
yeah,
it's like what you were talking about with the content, like when you know you have to put out an off-roading video every single week, and
yeah.
it's like you can tell he's
He's burned out.
lost some of that
Yeah,
joy. So it's not as contagious. Like I don't want to do it as much when I watch his stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you have
But I
to
mean,
kind of keep that excitement alive for you.
he also has the benefit of living in California, right? Outside of San
Mm.
Diego, to where it's like pretty much constant temperate weather, like all
It's
the
a benefit
time.
to live in California.
So for
Can't
videos
believe
and
you'd say
for
that.
I'm
being
just kidding.
able to go out and do those things, right?
Yeah,
He's
Mhm.
got plenty of trails around him, plenty of BLM land to go and explore. He's got beautiful scenery. He's got the drone. He's got retirement to. He's got income from his previous employer, so he's got the time to do all that kind of stuff. And for the first part of his channel, right, his wife really wasn't into it, and then she started to be more into it as his channel grew, which I think is kind of cool. Like
Mhm.
my wife she doesn't really enjoy she loves the outdoors. She doesn't like the challenging, crazy, death-defying stuff that I do. So if I'm up in Colorado, you guys remember? Did you guys do Black Bear Pass or Imogene or what all
we,
trails did you do in California?
we've done
Okay.
everything that we can get down. So like we'll go as far as the snow will let us, depending on the time of year we're there.
So we did
Right.
Imogene. We did
We've been all the way through
the
Imogene.
Bridal Veil side of Black Bear Pass,
Yeah.
the
Oh, okay.
switchback part.
So here in North Carolina, like the biggest drop off that we are going to see, even if you get out of your Jeep and you go on foot out to like a overlook or something like that, it's going to be about 3,000 feet. That's a huge drop.
Mhm.
My wife gets scared when that happens. So she wasn't there with us in Colorado, but when you drop down and you can barely even see the ground because there's fog and everything else.
Mhm.
It's like an epic movie, right? And but it's she's on the passenger side and I'm hugging the wall on this side. So I'm just making sure she's fine, but she's ending up like doing this the entire time.
Huh.
So it's not something that she was really into. But camping and doing the outdoor stuff, she absolutely loves that. And not everybody has a spouse that loves to do these things or enjoys it. And I mean, what about you guys? I mean, Brandy, were you into this whole thing? I mean, you guys talked about the ATVs and the side by side. Were you into doing this adventure stuff
I don't
initially?
know. I guess when we first got married, we did four wheelers, and that was really the first time I'd ever done anything like that. Like we didn't really grow up doing that in my family, so I don't know. It's just something we always did together, and there was never like, oh, I'm gonna go out and ride, and you stay home kind of thing. So I guess I just kind of learned to like it. I mean, I like being in the woods and everything. So, and I just really
Yeah.
trust his driving, so it doesn't really scare me a lot of things unless and when it gets really scary, I have the benefit of being able to like get out and film. So I'm like, oh yes, you go do that, and I'll
Yeah.
stand here and watch you.
Well, there's
Yeah,
only
that's a
been one time I ever told you guys to get out,
Yeah.
and that was when I hit that snowdrift in the side by side out there. I think we just started filming. We were in Colorado for I think it was our first time we ever went to
Yeah, I don't
Colorado,
think we had a channel
and we
then.
took side by sides, and I knew like I was getting ready to do something sketchy, and it was a snowdrift over the trail that I didn't want to turn around.
Mhm.
And so I had Brandy, I think it was just
Me and Connor.
Connor at the time, get out and walk. And literally, I hit that snowdrift and started going right off the mountain. But I just gave it just enough gas to kind of crawl right around it and keep going. But we were
Yeah.
riding with others and they turned around. But yeah, so I mean, if it gets too scary, then they'll get out. But I don't know. I don't think there's much that we really do alone. So, I mean, aside
Yeah.
from work. So, if we're going on a adventure like that, we'll do things that we try to do something that everybody wants to do, which is another
Mhm.
reason that, our channel doesn't always just have one thing that we do because you got four people you're trying to keep happy with things. So,
Sure. And I mean, that kind of goes back to the very start of the channel, right? So you guys started out, you did some Jeep videos at, I don't even know, it's Piney something, right? And it's in Arkansas.
the Big Piney is a
Big Piney,
river.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And
Yeah.
it's
So
beautiful down there.
those videos did really well. Then you guys started doing some gear stuff, and then you started doing the build of the box truck and all of that.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, you've got a lot of different things on your channel, which hits a lot of different audiences, and you're
Yeah.
showing, and you're doing it all with the family too. Which
Mhm.
again, that's not just this niche. You could go run the Bats Trails by yourself, and it would resonate with a totally different audience than it does if you've got your family with you.
Yeah.
So I mean, you think of Epic Family Road Trip, and channels like that that have done the whole family thing, and I'm sure there's plenty of others. That's just the one that's coming to mind. Um, so having all of these different things out there, how do you guys find you in all of that? If your goals are to reach a certain amount, or put out a video every week or every other week, like tell us what your goals are, and the kind of the purpose of the channel is now, after almost 10,000 subscribers. By the way, you're not that far away.
Yeah.
And then uh yeah, just w- what do you guys
Well,
want to do?
I mean, look, I think that, I could say, a big, long, cheesy line like most YouTubers will do about how they just kind of fell into this and they're thinking this and they're thinking that. But with all honesty, for us, and we like it means the world when people reach out and they give us support, or like when we broke down in Texas, we had people sending us money. And I mean, it's just that stuff is like, and we take the time to go through each of those things. And so like all that stuff is really important to us. But at the end of the day, for me, YouTube is, I enjoy doing the adventuring. I enjoy doing um, all the filming.
Mhm.
Editing is an absolute grind. The marketing of uploads, and we don't like social media at all. Neither one of
Right.
us. We don't like Instagram. Instagram's like the worst thing in the world. Um, I actually enjoy Facebook every once in a while, and maybe I'm part of the older group, and which is probably most of what our channel is anyway. But for me, YouTube is really, it affords us to be able to do that lifestyle full time.
Sure.
So if you can being a content creator is great, but it's still a job. and
Oh
and
yeah.
so like it's a lot. I don't think people realize. They think, oh well, you're just having fun on video, but it's like the 60 hours you put into editing isn't fun on video, and you don't
Right.
show that part. You show the one day that you had, and then you have 3 or 4 days of editing to try to get that out, and then you have deadlines and all these things. And then I don't even want to get started on angry commenters or hate mail. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of baggage that comes with content creation. So to sit here and try to say everything is great about it just wouldn't be realistic. But
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I just mean like you're doing it, right? You're doing the channel. You've done several things. You posted it there. They resonate with different things, and a
yeah,
lot of people will take a YouTube channel and say, okay, I'm going to put this kind of content there. Or after a few years and a bunch of videos, you're going to start analyzing your videos. You're going to start looking at your thumbnails. What are people going to click on? YouTube knows this. YouTube is putting out all kinds of stuff like, the thumbnail testing, the beta testing, and stuff like that, to where you can upload 4 or 5 different thumbnails and it'll show them and then eventually pick the best one. They just changed the monetization stuff to allow more people to get monetized at a
yeah,
lower level. then they also changed out your the monetization options on the videos too. So
Yeah.
instead of you being able to select, I want a mid roll here, or I want to put an advertisement here, it's going to optimize on its own to make the
Yeah.
most money out of the people that are watching. So there's a lot that goes into the algorithm side of just this platform. Then there's all these people that reach out to you and all that. And one very important thing that you left out, and I'm only saying this because you're a gadget geek, and that is,
Mhm.
uh, I mean, you said that in your video that you
Yeah,
love
he for
gadgets,
sure
and
is.
that you that this one of the big reasons of the most recent vehicle swap is the gear that's involved in producing something, and you have the belief that, or a lot of people that get into this have the belief, if I only had that camera, if I only had that lens, if I only had this, my audio is going to be shitty if I don't have this,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. And you fall into that trap of spending thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars
Mhm.
just to
We've
do
got
that.
a like a $5,000 camera sitting right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
And,
a nice
and,
camera though.
It is
and
a
here
nice
we are in
camera.
our phone, right? I mean, my
Yeah.
background is in the creative industry. I'm a creative director by trade. Like that's what I do.
Yeah.
I lead a team of designers, and my whole background. I've got Canon and lenses, and my wife takes pictures of birds in our backyard with a $10,000 rig. So it's
Yeah.
like it's just nuts.
Yeah.
I understand.
So the crazy thing is like you get these beautiful shots with these cameras with these big lenses that let light in, and you can get good shadow shots and things like that. But at the end of the day, these phones and the software is so good now.
Hmm.
We probably just put out one of the most cinematic things that we ever did, that 1884 video that
Yeah,
we
I
did.
watched it. Yeah.
Um,
83, is it?
84.
Oh, okay. Whoops. Yeah, that's
1883 is
oh yeah,
Yellowstone.
that's Yellowstone.
Yeah.
I
So
was like, one was on Paramount.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was us.
Yeah.
So and we shot, I think, all of that on an iPhone Pro.
Mhm.
So you've got like the bokeh effect, and you've got the zoom features, and all these things, and the slow motion shots. All that was shot with an iPhone, and I think that's probably some of the best video work that we've ever done. And people, they look right through that. Like people that are just watching on their phone, like that's one thing that I can't like explain enough to the people that watch our channel. It's like watch it on a TV, because the work that people put in and the effort on these full blown episodes, like it
Mhm.
deserves to be blown up on a TV and watch, because you can't appreciate a full episode on your phone. Like, I mean, I don't. Maybe I'm getting, maybe more people are doing it than I think, but I can't watch. I mean, I wouldn't sit there and watch Braveheart or something on my phone. So it's
Yeah,
like,
unless you were camping,
yeah, I
but I
mean,
mean,
well, I got a projector. We
yeah,
projected
yeah.
on the side of the,
So, you're
but
good there.
yeah, I mean, so that's something that's kind of key to me, and but a lot of the lighting effects and all that stuff, I mean, it gets so overlooked, and then you'll see a new channel come up, and somehow they hit the algorithm, and it's like they go from nothing to 30,000 subscribers, and they're running all dash cam and stuff like that, and so it's hard to really figure out. I mean, YouTube is a tough thing to figure out anyway, just the
Yeah.
algorithms and how you bring people in and retention and all that. I mean, you kind of know.
Well, I mean, the whole idea of that for me initially was to, I got bent out of shape. You brought it up a second ago, right? You brought it up about like the haters and people like leave comments, or what was actually worse to me, because honestly I don't get a lot of that because I'm not very confrontational about the videos that I put out. It's like,
Me
hey,
neither.
let me just, yeah, right. Let me just put let me just put this out here and have a good time, with my friends, and it's going to be there for me. But I had mentioned this in kind of a goal setting video that I made recently, and that is I had like the epiphany of nobody really gives a shit, man. Like nobody gives a shit, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Do it for you. If it's meant to do something to make money and become a living, which I mean that's a hard shift to make. There's no way in hell I'd leave my job to go do it. I would go have some amazing times, but then I would be like in debt up to my eyeballs within like 2 months. But having said all that, a lot of people are very successful from the very get go. And then you have people that are so obsessed with the quality and the gear and everything else that they kind of forget that they're the reason why they started doing this. And
Yeah.
or worst case, the reason, or the best case, the reason why they started doing this in the first place is because you love going out, you love doing adventure stuff with your family, by yourself, whatever, and then
Mhm.
putting it out there for people, so that they can hopefully experience it too, maybe in a similar way, but maybe not. Just getting out there and getting out there and exploring what at this moment remains to be free public land.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
dwindling.
Yeah, it's like every other week you hear about a trail getting shut down or something. Like
Mhm.
we shot a video out in Colorado, and we were we'd gotten stuck in a snowdrift, and that required somebody to go off the trail to winch me out. And I mean, we have gotten so much hate from somebody pulling off the trail to be able to hook a winch onto me to pull me back onto the trail.
Yeah.
It's just insane. But it's like, I feel like there's more people out there bickering and screaming about that than there is trail riders nowadays, and that's just a sign
Well,
of disaster.
the thing of it is that it's at the forefront now. It's at the forefront on both sides, and whether it be big organizations that like one particular type of sport, and it's infringing because they're Forest Service roads, and that's what they're intended to be. At least a lot of places. But then you have BLM lands, and they're realizing that there's tourism, there's money to be made. So a lot of times, especially in government funded agencies, it doesn't really matter what anybody thinks about government, but most of the time they are understaffed, underpaid, and they really just don't care. So they start closing trails down because people are starting to complain about them. Off-road organizations, like here in North Carolina, there are several organizations that I'm a part of, and just Jeep clubs or clubs in general, off-roading clubs that volunteer to go out and clean up the trails and the stuff like that. And I've actually know of several instances where the Forest Service has refused to help because they don't want to continue maintaining it after they close it,
Yeah.
um, which really sucks. But
Well, they're
having
out of
said all,
tax money. They've blown it all somewhere else.
well, I mean that, and so places like Moab, right? They're now requiring a motor vehicle use permit, which I'm 1,000% on board with. I'm on board because it actually goes to help maintain that and pay the people that are taking care of that area. I have zero problem with that. Same thing is going on in Georgia right now. They're starting to talk about that in certain places in North Carolina. Um, but what I don't want to see happen is that the only place that anybody can go wheeling is at off-road parks, like S'more or AOP or Windrock and places like that. Like, I don't want that to be the future of off-roading. I think that there's a healthy mix, and people should still be able to take their 4x4 vehicle down a Forest Service road and go camping with their family. Like,
Well, let me ask you this: if that's the case, then what are these lands going to be used for? That's maybe 20 miles down a service road. Who's going to walk 20 miles down a service road to access the land? If four by
that's
fours
it.
aren't allowed to go down, and what are we going to do with it?
Yeah, public
Well,
land and
It
public
it doesn't
usage
become
too.
public anymore.
well,
Whose land is that?
their side of it, and again, I don't want this to be the trajectory of this conversation, but um, there are hikers, horseback riders, trout fishermen, like all kinds of stuff. And
Mhm,
those big groups and those big organizations are bigger than the off road scene.
mhm,
When they
mhm.
all come together, they all lobby against because they see that, like, maybe it's in Georgia and you're driving down this Forest Service road. You're new to off roading. You don't know what you're doing. You got a 392 and you're 18 years old. Like, that makes no sense. Those guys have 0 sense going down those roads at like 80 miles an hour, going off trail, doing all that kind of stuff. Not saying that that is completely 100% in the wrong, but what's happening is we have these other organizations that are saying because they're doing that, the sediment is going into the water and it's killing the fish.
Yeah.
And they're closing trails down because they don't want to get in the middle of it. So
Mhm.
by requiring permits, it's going to cut down a lot of that, and it's going to encourage a lot more responsible use of the
Look,
land.
let me put in my 2 cents on this. Requiring a permit, that kid that you're talking about is driving a 392 90 mile an hour down a gravel road, doesn't give two flying shits about a permit, and he's
He'll
probably
go.
still going to do that.
He'll go to jail.
So,
Like that.
yeah,
That's
well, I mean, he's going to go to jail if he's flying 90 down a road being reckless anyway. Permit or no
yeah,
permit.
that's
But my problem with that is it's just like the old story with like toll roads, right? Like toll roads were created to build a certain bridge, and then the toll road is supposed to expire after that. Have you ever drove through Oklahoma? You can't get on a regular road out there. You pay to
Yeah.
drive everywhere there. So what are the taxes even going for? So
Yeah,
it's
I
like
mean, I
once
lived in
they
Florida forever. I lived in Florida forever,
yeah,
and
it
it
was
was
the
the whole
same
thing
kind of
was
way
gonna
out
go to
there.
the organization and stuff like that. And like I said, regardless, nobody really understands
What
government, not even government.
But my
So
thing is once you give them an inch, they just keep taking it, and then next thing you know, you're 20 miles down the road.
yeah,
And
and
if you
that
give them
that
an
has
inch
been
of allowing them to do permits to start, going off roading, then where does that end? You're gonna have a permit for everything pretty soon.
yeah,
But
I mean,
like,
it has absolutely been that way for the longest time. But I'm saying the only reason why I agree with it,
yeah,
to access these areas is because I don't want it taken away from me because some organization that's bigger, or just an organization comes to the Forest Service and makes a bigger stink about it, and then we just sit by and do absolutely nothing. And now these people can go and enjoy public lands, but I can't. Like
where are you talking?
that.
What do you when you said? What did you say anyway? A permit's required in Colorado, BLM?
No, Utah and in
Ye-
Moab.
Oh,
They're
Utah.
doing this whole thing, like, you actually have to take a test and the whole deal to even access the land or to off-road on the
Crazy.
land. Yeah,
Huh.
it's going nuts, and they've actually closed some trails out in Moab as well.
Which is crazy
Um,
because
We
that's
did
their
see
whole
that.
place. I mean,
Yeah.
Moab is
Yeah,
so pretty.
I think that I don't know. I haven't crunched the numbers, so it's just a uneducated guess. But I would go to say that off roading is probably their main source of income out there, especially in Moab.
oh, absolutely, the town of
So
Moab relies on that, and especially
they're
what's
But
about
they're
to happen
literally
on the lake,
screwing
like
these Jeep businesses. Those Jeep
yeah.
businesses and side by side rentals and all those, they're screwing them over.
They're
So
actively trying to dismantle things, which really sucks. Having said all of that, I want to transition to something a little bit more fun.
are
All
you
right,
sure?
because
we got a lot
yeah,
to say.
We could go all night on this.
because this is not Facebook. I'm not a keyboard warrior. I'm not that kind of thing. Not argumentative at all. But what I will say is, you guys have started some new adventures. The 20 badges in 30 days was like the recent big thing, and then you ended that with a new vehicle. Um, so talk about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it was kind of unexpected. Like we had just kind of built that Jeep out. Like if I ever wanted an off-roading Jeep, that would be it, maybe with a V8 swap. So we pretty much had everything right where we kind of wanted it. Um, but everybody knows I've been trying to get my hands on a Bronco since they were released. And
Mhm.
mostly because the type of wheeling we do, we don't really need a solid front axle. Independent front suspension would be much better off road for smoothness and also much better on road handling dynamics. And it's proven that, I mean, over and over. Like there's things that I like, oh man, the Jeep could have done this or could have done that. And the Bronco did it too. It's just, you're dragging a little more. I had 37s and a big lift on the Jeep, which some of
Mhm.
that stuff's coming soon. But um, so I just kind of built up that Jeep of the capabilities that I wanted. Had everything that I wanted. Had the one touch top. I mean, the color that I wanted it now, and so a Ford dealership had reached out to us right whenever we were coming back and offered us a deal that basically we couldn't refuse at the time. And you can't hardly get your hands on the Broncos. And even
Mhm.
now they're still bringing over MSRP. And so we pulled the trigger on it. And we don't have the financial means to have both right now because those are both like mid $60,000 vehicles.
Mhm.
So if we could have, we would have, because I really like, the Jeep grew on me. Like I said, I didn't like Jeeps 5 years ago, and I got
Right.
that thing, and I'll tell you, the 2.0 turbo motor that's in that JLU is probably one of the best motors that I've ever had of any vehicle, not Jeep,
Hmm.
not Chevy, not nothing. It's just one of the best motors I ever had. Plenty of power for a small motor, and I just love the way it drives. So yeah, I don't know. It it all just happened kind of randomly.
Yeah, we were as surprised as everybody else that we actually went through
Yeah,
with it. Just
yeah,
didn't expect it all. We pulled into the dealership that
yeah,
day. No.
yeah. It was wild. But I absolutely love the Bronco, and all these people that get on YouTube and they complain about this and complain about that. Maybe they're just harder wheelers than us. But I've taken that on some of the hardest trails that I've done so far, and I would say it would do anything so far that my Jeep would do, just probably a little rougher ride,
Mhm.
mostly the rock crawling stuff.
Yeah.
But it's got more power and and things like that going for it. So,
Yeah,
and it's a
there's a big
Sasquatch
difference. Yeah, there's a big difference between IFS and solid front axle. Like
for sure.
there's a big difference. And your wheeling style too. You can take the same obstacle slow and crawl it, or you can take
Yeah.
it and
No, you got to put
slam
you got to
into
put
it.
some gas behind it in the Bronco.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
and
that's
it
a big
feels
thing.
different. Your wheels are coming off the ground more,
Oh yeah, yeah,
a
it's
lot more
absolutely
often.
nuts. Like I have a truck. I'm not a big fan of my truck. I got it out of necessity more than anything else. But I have a 2020 Trail Boss.
Uh-huh.
It's got a 6.2 motor in it, and I wanted to put that as like our overland vehicle. I know you guys
Yeah,
had the F-150 a while back
yeah,
ago.
man. Yeah,
It is a hotel room on wheels. I mean, the thing
yeah,
is
Mhm.
just it's a great grocery getter,
yeah,
but it's massive. And I took it to Sierras Creek in Georgia, which was not difficult at all. And I drove that thing after driving my Jeep for years, and it's just so different. To try to understand a wider body, a longer body, much smaller tires, IFS. And so finally, when you get to understand how that particular vehicle performs, it can outperform what you thought it could do, right?
Mhm.
So
yeah. That's how the F-150 was. I remember taking it down some trails when we went to that overland group. We were actually went with Chris from the More Expo, and I mean, man, I was taking it down stuff that I would question in a Jeep. And
mhm.
as long as you can fit between the trees, that thing is so capable. It's got rear lockers and stuff, but and I hit some stuff, pretty hard on the undercarriage. But I
Mhm.
remember being really that was the first real ride we ever did in that
And
thing.
I think that kind of goes back to your point of you don't always need all this new gear and things to be able to get out and do it. Like we started before between our side by sides and our Jeep, we bought this Chevy Tracker. It was like $200 in some kid's
Heck yeah,
field
man.
that we
Like an old
bought.
geo tracker? Yeah, like an
It
old
was
geo
I don't
tracker?
know, is that what it is?
Ours is a Chevy Tracker.
It was
Okay.
ridiculous, and it was really hard for you to drive through, these trails and stuff, but you were keeping up with side by side. You just need a little bit more skill to do
Yeah,
that.
so back then we hadn't gotten our whole posse of mostly family, like my dad and my brother-in-law and my sister and family. They all ride. So back then everybody still had side by sides. We bought this little tracker and we started wheeling it. And I found myself leaving this really high dollar side by side at home and loading the tracker on the trailer and bringing it instead because it had air
Mhm.
conditioning and a full
Oh,
cab and
yeah.
stuff. So yeah, that was a cooler, and that was actually the first one we spray painted brown too and everything. So it looked like the miniature
When you
version of our Jeep.
when you started loving spray painting
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It was kind of hard to figure out the transitions, right? When you're watching your videos or whatever, kind of going back in time, and it's like, okay, yeah, black J or black JK, then you got a black JL, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's a brown JL. It's like,
It's like he'll
all
come home
right,
and be like, "Hey, I've got this idea. I'm going to spray paint the whole Jeep. Hey, I got this idea. We're going to dress up in 1800 clothes and do a video." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
yeah. So you guys recently, let's kind of we're talking about the Bronco, and you talked about doing some modifications on that potentially, but um, you've got some other stuff going on too. I know you posted today about some things going on with the RV or with the camper.
Yeah, yeah. So our new motorhome, it's a Super C, and if anybody follows our content, they've seen we kind of gave a tour of it, and we got a really good deal on it. So we knew it had like some leak areas that claimed to be fixed.
Hmm.
Um, and so when we first got it, we put an all new silicone roof on it, with the roll on silicone and stuff like that. And I think we've pretty well sealed it up, but the damage had already been done. So you could kind of put your hand on the exterior wall and it was kind of soft. So I knew that there
Hmm.
was going to be issues with that. So we actually reached out to the RV firm there in Rogersville. I mean, a big shout out to them because they're helping us a ton with this thing.
Rogersville,
Nice.
Missouri. For
Rogersville,
those of you who
Missouri.
don't know
Yeah.
Yeah.
where we are.
And they've got the whole side peeled back on it right now, and the
Hmm.
timber and stuff on the inside will have to replace, which is like like a veneer would. But the thing that I loved about this rig is it's a Chevy Kodiak with the big
Yeah, yeah.
8.1 workhorse motor with an Allison
Hmm.
transmission. So, I mean, it's an absolute tank, and it pulls my Bronco much better than that diesel box truck we had.
Oh, sure.
Um, so yeah, it'll be like we're investing a lot in making this thing capable of doing our trips for long periods of time, and we've got to be comfortable because when we go out and we like this trip that we just did, we were gone for a month and we were in
Hmm.
Utah and Colorado and a couple other places, and like when we went to Wyoming, we lived in it for a month. So it's like
Hmm.
our home on wheels where we spend time in there editing. And so you got to have reliable equipment. We started having issues with our generator. That's like a deal breaker. If you don't have
Yeah,
electricity and you're in the desert of Utah in the summer, like
yeah.
you're in big trouble. So yeah, I mean, financially, this thing's a 2008. It's a little older one, and so there's still things that we've got to kind of some kinks that we got to work out. But it's work. I mean, who wants to be? I don't know many people that can go out and spend like three or $400,000 on a motorhome right now. So
Oh yeah, no, no
Right.
joke. Like
yeah,
I'm calming down on my projects and modifications and stuff like that because I got my rig to where I want it to be, but um, like I said before, I kind of go out by myself or with buddies or whatever else, and I had a rooftop tent. I sold that. I've got a ground tent. I've got that as a backup just in case. I've got a platform built in the back of that thing. So I typically sleep there. I've got a fridge. I've got solar. I've got my solar generator. I'm on 40s and a V8, and so I'm like that's my rig, and
mhm.
I love it. I'm talking now or thinking about now, like doing like a van build, like an old Chevy van,
Yeah,
for like you join off road. They're
yeah.
less than a mile from me.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so going up there and talking to them and maybe doing like an old ambulance or something like that, which would be really cool. And then
Yeah,
checking out, like renting it out, so that
yeah,
people that come up here to Ash, because I'm in Asheville and I'm like it's tourist town pretty much for half the year. Renting out, let people go camping and glamp or whatever else. Doing that is just kind of a little side hustle, and then take it out every once in a while when my wife wants to go out and be comfortable while camping.
Yeah.
yeah.
Those kind of things.
That was kind of that's what we built the box truck for. Like we were going to build a van out, but our family's too big for a van, so like box truck was the next best thing.
Van feels
Mhm.
so tiny when you put four people in there. Like you
Yeah.
can't even stand in
I'm
it. So it was
sure.
not an option.
I'm sure. Like
But honestly, the thing that kind of got me thinking about all that was kind of the way that we watch a channel called Kara and Nate pretty often,
Mhm.
and man, they that's what they did. They just basically traveled around and did these adventures in it, and I'm like, man, it'd be cool to do that. But that's one thing that I will say that kind of is frustrating about content creating. It's like YouTube is really built in this niche market, and once you've kind of invested in this niche market, it's hard to get away from that. And I
Mhm.
think that's why a lot of these content creators quit or they have burnout or they have these issues because they end up catering to their followers. And what happens when you do that is you end up doing a lot of stuff that you don't want to do. And then one day it's finally like enough is enough. So I admire these channels that really can just basically do whatever the hell they want, like Whistling
Mhm.
Diesel or Heavy D Sparks and like those types of guys. Um, and I think everybody's kind of expected high octane footage from them at this point, but still, they can go out and really make whatever content they want, and they've really built their channel that way. So,
Well, think of this. I'm thinking of like really crazy channels like the Story Till Now, like Sean from Story Till Now, puts out cinematic videos. He's got several editors that work for him. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff or whatever. You
mhm,
very rarely see him with his wife or his child. So a
yeah,
lot of these things are going on. Whether he's going out for 4 days and filming 4 or 5 episodes out of each one, or he's got um, the forethought to understand, okay, here's the storyline we're going to tell, or we're going to be able to make, even if I have 8 hours of footage total, we're going to make like three 30-minute videos
mhm,
somehow, just by
Mhm.
using drone shots as fill.
yeah,
But having said all of that, people watch the crap out of that. You know, people
Mhm.
love seeing that kind of stuff because it's very elemental. It's very common and they're used to seeing that on every other platform that they're on, right? So
Hmm.
if they're watching Netflix, they're watching whatever else. It feels similar. They don't lose their attention span that quickly. Now, if you have videos like mine where I'm like, hey, here's how to change the oil in a Jeep JK from 2015, it's a very small niche,
Yeah.
right? Like that's very tiny. Or like how to disassemble or reassemble a hub. Like a lot of people need to know that, but they need to know that for 30 seconds. And then
Yeah,
they
and they need to know that enough to pull your video up. They don't need to know it enough to subscribe and be loyal to your content. And
Exactly. So
and
having said like both sides of those things, you can cater to your niche and try not to burn out, or you can put various videos out there with different purposes as long as you, the creator, understand that it's going to yield different results.
yeah.
So if you have those to get views, if you have those to pass along information and stuff like that, it still serves the channel, but you know, a video changing a tire of how to change a tire is not going to inspire somebody so much to subscribe to your channel.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I think the biggest thing that we saw that would really grow your channel is gear. Gear
Yeah.
tutorials, how-to videos with gear. Those are the things that really grow channels, and it's which is weird because YouTube likes to say they don't push your content out, they pull your
Hmm.
content to the viewer. That's how they
Yeah. Yeah.
describe it.
Hmm.
So obviously, what's a big corporation like YouTube going to do? They're going to pull products in to sell products, and so those videos do really well. Some of our best performing videos have been our. We work or we partner with Blue Ox for flat towing stuff. We flat tow all of our vehicles, and
Hmm.
those are some of our highest producing videos that we
Good.
make. Just views and even retention time because people are trying to learn how to flat tow. But
Hmm.
honestly, until this Rory video, that was our number one video. And now it's just pure chaos all the time in the comment section. Because,
Yeah.
and the thing that's funny is if you put out a controversial video, everybody wants to come in there and talk about how they don't like controversy. Yet they clicked on that video, they watched the video, and then they took the time to comment on it. So, like, the,
Oh,
the thumbnail's pretty clear. It's a controversial video.
yeah. I mean, I don't have an opinion on that. I mean, I do, but I don't. Because it doesn't really matter. I mean, yeah, I could sit here and somebody 3 years from now watching this video, if this channel still exists, you know, they're coming back, they're watching this 3 years ago, they're gonna disagree with something that I said about BLM land. But who
Oh,
knows
for
the
sure.
state of
Mhm.
BLM land at that particular point in time? Like who knows? I don't care what this other person thinks about my rig. You know, I don't because I didn't build it for them, I built it for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out there and do my stuff. And people might say, I can't believe you did this because we started watching your channel because you're a family of four driving out in a Jeep and all of a sudden now you've got a Bronco. My Jeep
Yeah.
club tells me to hate Broncos.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what is up with this?
Mhm.
Or "How about that weak ass steering rack?" And, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, just
Yeah.
throwing comments left and right. Who gives a crap?
Yeah. We
You
get a
know?
lot of that.
Mm.
Yeah. Speaking of, well, I'm actually going to wrap this up pretty soon. But I know you guys just did the 1884 thing.
Yeah.
Um, how did that idea come about? Because that was a divergent from the norm. You just like, I have this
No idea
idea,
how
I'm
that
gonna do
happened.
this.
I don't know. I felt like you can, if you're playing a character, if you're doing something, then you can really invest into these cinematic shots and these certain things. And I think it was actually cooking. I think it was cooking. Like we were sitting around the fire one night. We always cook on cast iron. And I
Hmm.
think it started out like, hey, let's shoot a cooking video, but let's like make it period correct. We'll only cook with stuff, cast iron and wagon trail type stuff. And maybe we can even do like um, what's that called, cookie, like wagon cook, so we could do an episode like that maybe
Hmm.
once a month or something, because cooking is a hot commodity on YouTube. Cooking sells. People love food, they love watching food, they love eating food.
Yeah,
And
look,
so
Cowboy Kent Rollins. He's right up your alley.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So That's how it started, and then ironically enough, we didn't really do any campfire cooking in the first one. But I
Yeah.
kind of this first episode that we just put out was kind of a pilot. I wanted to put it out there and see how it was received. So all of the concurrent viewers that we had, it seemed to be received really well. The watch time was, far superior than anything that we've done up to this point. But
Mhm.
back into that niche market that I'm telling you about, it's the last place on views in the amount of time. So
Yeah,
as
yeah,
of today, it's like it looks terrible.
yeah.
And then I did a vote and on my vote, which I'll tell you right now, I'm looking at my computer here in the stats still. I'm
Mhm,
not paying attention, but the vote that I did was, how will you be watching the episode tonight? And then one of the options
mhm,
was like on your TV, one was mobile, and then one was computer. And then I just, for shits and giggles, I threw in, I won't be watching it, dot, dot,
mhm.
dot. And I won't be watching it, dot, dot, dot was like 70%.
You know what's nuts though about that? And like, I mean, I have a very sarcastic sense of humor. Like, what my options would have been the TV, your phone, or sitting on the toilet. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
how are you going to be watching it? Because
Yeah.
people
But
are
see,
just
so,
there.
yeah, so
But
for me, I like, and we've done this since day one. I really do. As much as I hate hearing things, sometimes I do want honest feedback, and
that's
so
hard to get
that's why I
online.
always
You should
put
know
those
that.
options in there, huh?
That's almost impossible to get online. You should know that because people,
Well,
but
I don't
people
know. I
don't have to
mean,
back up on their comments, right? Like live, like this.
yeah, but
Like
why would you say you're not watching it and then watch it? You know what I mean? Like,
that's my point. That's my point. It's not honest.
yeah, I mean, I guess you never really know. For me, like, I'm the same person online that I am right here talking to you on this thing, or that I am if I meet people in person, and
Yeah.
that's probably why I'm kind of a controversial figure, is because whether I say it here now, or I say it to you in person, or I say it by typing it, it's all pretty much the same thing or the same opinion. And the one
Yeah.
thing that I do hate about online or comments or even text messages for that matter is the fact that when you're not talking to somebody like this or face to face, you lose a lot of the emotion and the dialogue, things that you can't read through a message. So you may say something and somebody may think you sound offensive or you sound like an
Mhm.
asshole, but you're just saying something that's forward or direct, and
Yeah.
it's coming from a good place. And so
That's
that's my
that that
biggest problem with that.
that point alone has destroyed many a young relationship, right? So
Yeah,
it's like I didn't mean that via text. You didn't get
yeah.
my tonality through that or whatever else.
We pretty
Just
much
that
only
it
communicate through text, Brandy and I.
what
That's
I
not
mean,
true.
my both my wife and I work from home, so it's like it's pretty much easy to just she's got her kind of office area and I've got mine.
Yeah,
Um, so that's good. But before that, like she was a teacher for a very long time, and uh, I there's no way to really communicate during the day at all. She had very
Mhm.
little time. But having said all of that, you've got the new thing out there. That's kind of the pilot. You're thinking that it's not going so well so far. Uh, is that going to discourage you from editing the rest of it or filming it,
We
or is it
haven't filmed
something
the
that
rest
you?
yet,
we
so
have.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know where we're at with it, but we're definitely shooting it like in, there's definitely like pieces of it. Like we've actually
yeah.
got that tent still set up, ready to shoot more. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of told myself that we'll see what the analytics look like after a week has gone by and go from there. Um, and by the looks of it now, I mean, we're only on day two. By the looks of it now, it's probably going to
Well,
be just a pilot.
well, I mean, like I said, I told you I'm in the creative field. So, I mean, my suggestion to you would be to take that time. You've already got the set there. Do some other stuff that's maybe not like that. But do exactly that. You don't have to publish it to YouTube, but just work on some stuff with your phone, like trying to figure out different angles, work with
Yeah.
different editing techniques and stuff like that in your free time, which you can apply to everything else. Do some shorts or reels in there in that setting, some like satirical husband wife stuff. Like
Yeah.
there's a million things you could do because your set's right there and
Yeah.
put minimal effort for maximum return on those things, which will get more people to your channel and all that.
The
Um,
problem is you said it just a minute ago, it's free time. We don't have any free time at all. Like we've got so many irons in the fire right now. We've got
yeah.
things. I mean, that's like literally we were trying to get this and get in here and sit down and do this thing because it's just been crazy all day. I mean, we've got a motorhome in the shop in Rogersville. We've got another motorhome in the shop in Texas, and we've got 3 episodes launching. Brandy still works full time. She is a teacher still, and
Yeah.
so she doesn't get home till 4:30 or so. And so yeah, I mean, there's just when we are shooting these videos, like a lot of that video I shot solo. A lot of that
Yeah.
stuff, it's like a camera hanging on a tree limb or something. And
Mhm.
so yeah, I mean, it's just and so for me, it's kind of weighing out, is it worth spending the effort here with no return? I mean, there's a lot of money in buying, all these things to shoot these old episodes. I don't know if you remember, if you've been around our channel long enough, but we shot we did another mini series and we tied a ton of money into it, and it was overlanding in the 90s. Did you ever watch any of that?
Yeah, you had the '90s Bronco. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really expensive. The Bronco, the camping gear, everything we had was literally from the 90s. We made trips to antique stores for a month to get all that stuff. And those videos just completely flopped because people didn't get to see the Jeep. And
Were they fun though? I mean, were they fun?
Yes, those ones
Okay.
I feel
oh,
like,
that
yeah,
yeah, that was a blast.
yeah, I don't really care about the views on those as much because we loved them and our kids loved them. It was like
Yeah.
just great.
Yeah, we made good
memories.
memories for sure.
Yeah. I
But
mean, and for me, like that's what I'm saying. It's like for me anyway. Like I don't care about the view so much. It's why it takes so long. But I did for the longest time. I got seriously butthurt about it. Like I'm just like
well,
I'm
was
never
that your
doing
main
this
income
again.
when you were getting butthurt about it?
Oh no,
So make
no.
that
It's
your
just
main
like,
income and then multiply that by about 500
and
times. It's
that's what I'm
really
saying. I can't
it's a
like
lot
I
different.
can't. Yeah, I can't tell you that, you should have done this or you should do this because
Yeah.
we live completely different lives and completely different styles. But what I will say is that when I look at things, I'm looking at things from a different perspective. If it
For
is
sure.
my 100% full income, I'm going to go balls to the walls with it. And I'm just like try and try and try. And yes, I'll get upset. Yes, I will engage in the comments and all that kind of stuff because it helps the algorithm when you're commenting back. Even like a 2-word thing on somebody's negative comment, they don't realize how much that actually helps your channel. So,
Yeah.
and that's fine with me.
Yeah,
I
all
mean,
the time people will watch one of our videos and then come back to Facebook to tell me about it. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
put the comment on
Just do it
YouTube,
there.
man. You're
Just do it
killing me
there.
here.
Just do it there.
And I
Because I
hate to
know.
be that guy that's always asking for likes and subscribes and comments, but it's like if you don't, it's crazy how that stuff really works. Like if you just keep tapping on them about it, like in the
Mhm.
video, or like it makes a huge difference. And it's
Yeah.
crazy. You would never think. And I feel like it's just annoying. Like I'm having to keep asking. Like if I enjoy some content or I feel like somebody put hard work into it, I'll always hit the like button. And then if it's really good, I'll drop a comment just so that algorithm will flow.
Yeah.
But people
You
don't realize that.
YouTube is like a trail in a lot of ways, right? So especially if it's a trail you've been down 100 times, right?
Yeah.
It's still somebody's first time,
Yeah.
right? So going down the trail is their first. Every video is your first introduction to somebody else that hasn't seen your stuff yet, and they can make it a split-second decision right then and there to subscribe, to like, to comment, to share. And if you don't ask, they won't do it because first off, people's attention span. If you look at that first 30 seconds of your videos and you start really doing the analytics of it, what is your hook? What promise are you making? What is your thumbnail? What is your thumbnail promise? Are you hinting on that promise in the first 30 seconds? And then are you delivering on that promise in the next minute? So
Yeah.
out of an 8-minute video, most people, more than half, if 50% of people are not watching at the halfway mark, you're doing something weird. And tighten it up. So you don't have to have an 8-minute long video. You could have a 6-minute long video or whatever else,
Yeah.
because you're not holding that retention. Anyway,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, what kind of? I don't know. What, so your videos that you were doing before this, kind of what were you? You said you do a lot of the maintenance type videos and stuff like that. Did you try to do adventure videos?
Oh, we did several of them. Like, so I
Yeah.
did a 3-part series about the whole thing to Moab and Colorado and stuff like that, and they were the worst performing videos I've ever done.
How long
But
were
I
they?
put, but they were one was 7 minutes, one was 12 minutes, and I think one was 17 minutes.
And you don't have to say on air if you don't want, but I'd be curious to know like what your on average, like what's your retention on those? Your
On those videos?
yeah, like the percentage.
Oh, on those, it was absolutely terrible. So
Yeah,
it's like
like,
I did an intro
but what's
thing, and I
terrible to
did
you?
like previously on and stuff like that, and
Uh-huh.
so that was like 2 years ago, and I thought that to what I'm passionate about is not what everybody else is passionate about, and
Yeah.
I'm going to be true to myself, and I don't give a shit. I'm just going to
Yeah.
keep doing the stuff,
No,
right?
that's fine. I'm more curious 'cause I'm trying to see. I you know I look into analytics a lot on YouTube channels, and
Mhm.
I'm always the percentage of people that are willing to reveal those kind of things is really
Mhm.
low, and it's really nobody in our niche. So I'm always kind of looking for that. But like,
No,
I'll
I
tell
mean
you mine. I'm
my
not.
click through rate on average for the last 6 months is 17 or 18%. My average watch time on an 8 minute long video is 4 minutes and 17 seconds. The last time I looked at it, and again, I'm not doing this stuff like I don't care as much about the monetization stuff. The only reason why I'm bringing it up in my videos now is because of the fact that I'm donating every bit of the revenue from this channel to an off-road veterans organization on September 11th. So I
Yeah,
have a goal that I've met to do
but
that. And granted, it's $1 a day.
everything you
Having
just said is nowhere near bad anyway. Like a 55% retention is really good.
no,
And then
it's
on
it's
top of a
huge.
55% retention, if you've got a 17% click-through rate, I mean, that's better than our best performing videos. Like we're
What's crazy though is that I don't have the reach. I don't get the reach.
yeah,
I get like 6,000 views a month,
yeah,
you know? So it's not great, you know?
yeah.
But
Yeah,
at
and
the
see, I
same
complain
time,
about my reach and it's it's
so
more than
no,
6,000 a month.
yeah.
But
So I mean, but each one of my videos is like maybe 100 to 180 views, right? I've got 1,800 subscribers, right? So I've
yeah,
got 1/5 of what you guys are about to have.
yeah,
Right? So having said all of that, even with 1/5 of that, the channel is now earning money to give away, which I think is like my whole purpose of doing this is to provide either entertainment information or just well some form of entertainment really. But
yeah.
that is the whole goal behind what I'm doing.
But
Plus,
what do
I
you
get to
get
go out
out
and
of it?
enjoy. I get to go wheeling, man.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're
like
not wheeling right
I'm
now. You're sitting here talking to us.
that is absolutely right. I'm waiting on my. I've got to get down to Georgia and fix the rear locker in mine because I've broken it twice already. So
Definitely a Jeep.
yeah, definitely a Jeep, definitely a Jeep. But I've broken more things on that than I've installed as far as modifications and stuff. Um, so it's getting a little bit lighter weight. But I think I had one other thing, and that was really it. No, that was pretty much it for the questions and conversations. I just wanted to thank you guys again for being a part of this, and
Of course, man.
we'll check back in the chat replay. Everybody's talking about different things.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can look at chat replay and this kind of stuff. Hit it up in the comments. If you're not subscribed to their channel, please go and do that. So you can find them. Well, actually, you guys just tell them all the places you can find them and what the handles are.
Our handle's Ben and Brandy pretty much everywhere. We're on all platforms. We put more effort into Facebook over every. So our kind of effort goes YouTube, Facebook, and then it's kind of probably a tie between Twitter or X and Instagram. Actually, Instagram's probably still ahead of Twitter or X, um, but it is there. So yeah, that's been Ben and Brandy ORR or Offer Recon. We're pretty easy to find, especially
Okay.
since it's pictures of us everywhere.
Well, guys,
So
I want to thank you guys again for being a part of this, and
yeah,
I
man,
hope
thanks
you
for
guys
having
have
us.
a great time fixing your frozen well pipes if you haven't done that already.
We
And
did it
Good.
that night. We had to do it.
good. And all right, guys. Well, thank you all for watching. I appreciate you being a part of this, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
I see you.